Hello, everyone. Sorry I was a little late. I had trouble joining. Ashley, thank you for admitting me as a panelist.
You're welcome.
That was the only one I could get to work. I tried another one, and so.
That's fine. I can always bump you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Happy New Year, everyone.
To you, Dale.
New Year.
Everyone make it to work okay today?
Yeah.
Brian, thank you to your crews for keeping the road safe out there. I know it's a pretty crazy job, especially right now.
Yeah, we're doing the best we can. So.
Well, I thought the main roads were quite navigable today.
Yeah, agreed. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Kim, Paul, Ashley. That's good to see everyone. Paul, that might be the biggest whiteboard I've ever seen in my life.
Looks that way. It's really
I love it. Let's see. It looks like we have Jeremy's joining us today, and Susan's on the line. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us today, everyone. I think Ashley and Katie are on the line as well here.
Hi, everyone. I'll just listen in today. I don't have anything in particular.
Oh, I thought you were going to present that one report today. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. So let's see. I think let's start off the meeting with approval of minutes. I don't know if everyone's had a chance to read through them or have any recommendations or changes that they might need.
So just one comment under item 5, the 4th paragraph down, starting with the first option is this sentence. The second sentence says an additional fire truck delivery through the development and out to Bower. It seems like something else is missing in that sentence. And I don't know what the correction there would be.
We'll check into it, Paul, and correct them.
Okay. Well, with that, I'd make a motion to approve the minutes with the correction.
And I'll second that motion.
Thanks, Ashley. Everyone agree to those to the approval of the minutes then with the changes?
Aye.
Thank you. Let's see. Let's move on to public comment. Again, just as a reminder, this is a live broadcast meeting. If you are attending by phone, you can press *9 to raise your hand to be recognized and *6 to mute and unmute. Do we have, on my end, I'm not seeing that we have any public joining us today. Ashley or Katie, is that correct?
Yep, I don't see anybody either.
Thanks, Ashley. Well, moving right along, the board member should have received an email, the financials for the past month. I think, was that yesterday or the day before? I can't remember. The days of this year are starting to go faster than last year for me, to be honest with you. Computer was making funny noises. Was that just me?
No, that was mine, Neil. I got a phone call. Sorry.
Oh, it's tough being so popular, isn't it, Brian?
Oh yeah, I'm real popular on snow days.
Oh dear. Let's see. Oh, can you, whoever's running the display, can you pull up the expenditures document there? Thank you. It's not up on my screen. Oh, there we go. Okay. It's just how demanding I am. Like, geez, hurry up. No, I'm just kidding. So it looks like we are 49.56% through the fiscal year. Does anyone have any questions, thoughts, or concerns on these numbers? Does anyone need more time to look at those?
No concerns here. I'm good.
Thanks, Ashley. Paul, you're on mute there.
I'm good too. Thank you.
Thank you. Kim, you okay with these? Okay, thanks. Revenue opening up here. Oh, sorry, that was mine. Sorry, Brett, I probably should have asked, did you have any inputs on the expenditures or revenues?
No, I think we're sitting pretty good there. It's some of it's starting to catch up to the, the midpoint of the year, but I think we're sitting pretty well. And as you can see here on the deposit side, we had a little better month than we did last month. We're up to 49 internments for the fiscal year, which is up significantly from the last 2 fiscal years at this point.
And there was a fee increase as of January 1st. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
I should recall what that is. Was it like 3%?
4%, I believe.
4%?
All right. Has everyone had a chance to look through that and comfortable with it? Sounds good. Let's move on to new business, which I think Katie has some information on the career ladders for city non-unionized employees. Is that correct, Katie?
Yeah, that is correct. Just wanted to give a brief update on this. A few months ago, our city HR department enacted a career policy. So we were able to do this for quite a few non-union staff in public works, and cemetery being one of them. This has created 3 steps for our maintenance technicians out there to kind of have somewhere for them to go, work elements for them to achieve. They can, really advance their careers at the cemetery. They don't maybe not necessarily have to feel like they have to go somewhere else in the city to, advance themselves on skill sets or financially as well. So this has been a really great thing that we've been able to do. Again, we've got 4 approved so far in public works, and luckily cemetery is one of them, and really happy to do something really great for our biggest assets. Any questions?
That's fantastic. I'm glad to hear. And thank you for all the work you're doing on creating the career ladders. One question for you. Where is this funded out of?
It is funded out of cemetery. It's not the capital fund, but it's whatever the other one is. We during the process, we get with Allison Siegel, who is our business finance manager. She's able to approve the budget for this to make sure we have enough money to establish this. So that was looked at before it was approved.
Awesome. That's pretty exciting. Thank you.
Yeah.
Brett, has this been received well so far?
Yes, very well.
Good. Let's see, Brett, you were going to talk about a consultant guidebook.
So for you that are unfamiliar with the Learn Missoula, they are excuse me, Learn Missoula is a Black, Indigenous, and people of color, which is also known as BIPOC. They're leading and directing a project that's focused on transforming Missoula by disrupting institutionalized biases, disenfranchisement, and structural integrity. And they're working within the city they're conducting like quantitative research that includes scrutinizing existing practices, procedures, policies, and data within each city department to identify areas where the city can improve access, inclusiveness, and equity. And within that review, they have found some language in our Stories and Stones books that are inappropriate, I guess, or biased or racially insensitive. And so going through all of that, we've turned that over to our communications department to work with them on rectifying the Stories and Stones and the sheriff's handbook and the mayor's handbooks that we have.
And if I could jump in there, so you may have noticed that all those documents are no longer on the cemetery website. And that until the corrections and the modifications to some of the language in there are made, it will, sorry, another phone call. Those documents will not be put back on the website until they're completed. And so Ginny Merriam is our communications director for the entire city. Lori Hart is our public works director, or communications director for public works. And they are working on this. and likely will be involving possibly some U of M professors, possibly Indigenous people classes. And they're looking at some options to possibly get some assistance with rewriting, not only just changing some of the language, but also adding some paragraphs where we give some explanation in regard to the Indigenous people that are interned at the cemetery. So it's going to take some time. And the reason that I bring it up, and I was hoping to get board input on this, is it may not be done in time when we are tentatively planning the Stories and Stones in September. And I wanted to get board feedback that if we don't have those pamphlets available for the guests to look at, should we still try to put it on, or should we postpone again and wait for those documents to be finished?
Let me just say this. I think this is really important work, and I'm glad that the city is working with a consultant on this, and that the city has some resources to help us work through the guidebooks. For me, and anyone, board members, please feel free to chime in here. I think it's more important that we prevent the spread of bias and racism, as opposed to putting out material just so that we can put out material. I think it's regardless of whether or not we have Stories and Stones this year. I think I wouldn't want to continue to publish things that may be hateful or biased. So I'm fine with them not being available at the moment.
And I would echo that. I'm really glad that the city brought this to our attention, and Learn is involved. I think that's great. The comments, just reading through those comments, I thought they were pretty thoughtful. In terms of the documents being available at Stories in Stone, that doesn't. I think we could still have the event without those documents. I think it'd be nice to have it, but it's not imperative, given the actors that we have available to us that put those events on as well. The other thing I'd like to say, as long as we're doing a rewrite in that, if there's a possibility we could coordinate that with the National Register listing that Elizabeth Johnson is working on, that might be an opportunity to integrate that into those documents, the rewrite of those documents, and make sure that that's highlighted in there as well.
I can talk to Elizabeth about that, Paul.
Sure.
Good thinking, Paul.
I'm just concerned at how long it may take, especially say if we're trying to involve some of the U of M Native American Studies professors and or possibly even their students to tackle this as possibly maybe an extra credit project or research project, and not just geared towards necessarily Indigenous people, but other nationalities as well. And the reason that we're not able to do it internally is that it would require, for example, Carissa to go and review 21,000 records and try and possibly unsuccessfully determine what their race was, because the records don't often indicate that. So it's a big project, and it may be a year, it might be 2 years before these documents are finished. I don't know what the entire scope will be. Hopefully I'm wrong. Maybe they'll get it done here in the next few months, but.
And maybe it's an opportunity if Stories in Stones happens in September of this year, it's an opportunity to work with the people who are putting those documents together, to bring them in and have them be a part of the Stories in Stones event and talk about those changes and how kind of that BIPOC component is being integrated into what the cemetery is doing.
Sure. Do any of the board members have any idea or opinion on, so let's say we can recruit enough volunteer actors, and do the actors use the stories from the documents so that they can learn about the characters and then portray them? And if so, should we provide just the actors with the documents so they can learn about their characters, or should we just refer them to, say, another source? I mean, some of the characters, there's, I'm sure, all kinds of other information that can be researched. Some of the other ones that weren't quite as famous may not be the case. But maybe it's just something we can deal with internally as staff. Any thoughts on that? Or, you know, some of the board members have been around for a while. Is that the process for how the actors learn about who they're going to portray?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
It just seems that, I don't know, my thoughts are that we shouldn't do the stories in stones unless we have the booklets. That a lot of people, they don't make it to when the stories are being told by the actors. And so they're reading about them in the booklets, and for people to come and have nothing to do a solo tour, they're gonna quit coming, and that's gonna be a real negativity. I mean, this is our opportunity with the books being redone to maybe look at the whole way we're doing stories and stones and maybe revamp what we're doing and how we're doing it.
Sure.
Brett, to answer your question in terms of how the actors get information or research on the characters, I have to say, as a board member and all the time I've been involved, I don't know.
That's okay, Paul. It certainly isn't something we have to decide today, but I was hoping to get the board, at least let's start thinking about it and possibly planning for if or how we will do stories and stones if we can. So we can keep this even on the agenda for a while if anybody comes up with new ideas or suggestions.
Thanks, Brian, for talking about that. And I'll just reiterate that I'm excited that the city is engaged in doing this work. And yeah, I think we do. To Kim's point, I think we should take this as an opportunity to look at Stories and Stones as a whole. If Ashley, if you don't, Ashley Strayer, sorry, don't mind keeping that on our agenda for the next foreseeable future, that would be helpful. And I would, I guess at this point, task the board to, you know, over the next month or so, think through Stories and Stones and kind of go over it in your mind as far as what works, what doesn't work, and maybe we can talk about that in the upcoming meetings. Ashley, I don't know if you've ever been to one of the Stories and Stones events, but you know, Kim and Paul and I would be more than happy to talk through that with that process and that event with you as well, if you'd like to learn more. And we certainly would appreciate thoughts on it from your perspective as someone who doesn't have experience with the past as well. So
Yeah, I'd appreciate that. I've never attended in person, but I've heard a lot of positive things about it in the community, actually. And I know a lot of people look forward to it. And I think it's an important event for the cemetery. And I'd like to see it continued. I know with COVID, it's been canceled the last 2 years. And I think it's important to sort of move forward with. So that's my take on it.
definitely, thank you. Yeah, it's you're absolutely right. It's been just a well-received event since its inception, and I don't know when that was, way before my time, but very well liked. And every time I've been, I've worked it with as a member of the board, you know, people just come up and just say thank you. It's been so interesting and they really appreciate it. So it has been unfortunate that we haven't held it for the past couple of years, and I think we would all like to get back to it. But I agree with Kim that this is a great time to kind of rethink our process. And if there's possible changes. Yeah, Kim.
is that a lot of those actors are no longer doing it. They, whether it's due to death or sickness or non-interest, and it's dwindled down. Last time it was like 20, and it just, there were a lot of people that made comments about that. We didn't have people telling stories for certain ones and stuff. And before, it's been, I think, a Jenny that's gotten the people involved with doing the characters. Is she going to continue to do this? And if not, who takes that over?
Yeah, definitely things to think about. And I know, let's see, the effort, this whole effort is called correct me if I'm wrong, the Jedi Project, Brian, that the city's doing. And I know they were hosting a number of meetings open to the community to discuss it further and kind of inform the community about what's happening and what they're looking at, not specific to the cemetery, but just to engage the community in this Jedi Project, which stands for Justice, Equality, Diversity, and Inclusion. I had to look that up. So if you are interested in learning more about that, then I would recommend checking out and seeing. I don't know when they are off the top of my head, but I know that they were offering some open kind of community forums, I believe. So. Anyone have any other thoughts in regards to that? Moving right along. Brett, do you want to talk about the I almost said agricultural services, architectural services?
Yeah, so the bid process, or not the bid process, but the qualification process closed, and we did receive some interest. So Chris is gone this week, but we spoke with Brian, and next week we're going to be setting up a meeting to start the selection process, and we need to get a hold of Pat and get him. I believe he's the one who volunteered to be on the committee. So we'll get that meeting set up with him whenever his schedule allows us to do that. And we'll start the process from there and move forward.
And Pat's not on the call today, but I'll just thank him for volunteering to do that. We appreciate it. Brett, what is your kind of rough timeline look like to get through this process?
Once we get together, and I would say within a couple of weeks, we should have someone selected. So at 3 weeks from today.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thank you for working on that, and everyone else who's participating in that. We appreciate it. And I think we're really excited. I mean, I'll speak for myself here, but I'm excited to get this moving along and looking at the future changes and what we can do for the cemetery. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about it.
Yeah. We can add you to the committee, Neil, if you really want.
Well, I mean, I was gonna call Pat and see how he's looking for as far as his schedule. I know there's a lot going on in his world too, and so I might be joining you. I don't know. I will if I'll throw my availability in if he's not able to.
And so this meeting that Brett talked about next week is it's certainly not mandatory, but it's just kind of a pre-instruction meeting for some of the committee members who haven't had a lot of experience with reviewing RFQs and making selections. And there's a couple little things that we should go through, and Katie Emery and I talked about it, that we both thought that'd be a good idea. If Pat can't make it, that's certainly fine. But once that pre-meeting's done, and then it's just kind of up to the individual members to review, and there's only two to go through. There's only two companies. So it shouldn't take that long, but then the individual members will be provided with a score sheet based on the RFQ, and that's how we'll make the selection. And then once everyone has completed that, we'll meet again to go over the results and then make a decision as a group.
Sounds good. I had a fleeting thought there, but apparently it escaped me. Does anyone have any other thoughts, comments, or concerns in regards to the RFQ process? Okay, sounds good. That's everything on our agenda. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to bring up or discuss?
Just one other thing. It is January, and we usually hold elections in January for positions. Not that I have any designs on taking over Neil's position, but I think we should acknowledge that it is that time of year, and should probably go through some election process.
Good call. Do we want to do that today, or do we want to put that off until next month?
Unless Kim wants to be the chair, we better wait till next month.
All right, Paul, you're gonna get yourself in trouble.
Okay, well, let's add that to next month's agenda, if you don't mind. And we'll self-nomination for any position is wide open. And we can vote at that time to make Paul the president. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up, Paul. Thank you. It totally escaped my mind. All right. Anything else? Well, again, thank you everyone for taking your time out to hang out with us today, and appreciate the good conversation. And I hope everyone's careful on the roads that are being worked on as we speak.
Thank you, everyone.